Hello, friends. This is your friendly neighborhood leftist, Sophie of sexwithsophie.com, here with another episode of our nightly show. I say our, I'm just so used to speaking in the plural. But yeah, this is Call a Liberal. And it looks like this is the first night that I can actually have guests on TikTok. So if you want to tee up, I have not done that before, but I'm absolutely happy to invite you to join the conversation in that way. If you're wanting to chat about some of the topics I have listed above or the question that was on my mind tonight, given so much pro-life sentiment that seems to come up in this show, if you were confronted with having to choose between your wife and your fetus or unborn baby, what would you choose? Very curious to know how people would handle that situation if they've been in that situation, especially considering where you might land on the pro-life, pro-choice spectrum. Again, what would you do if you were confronted with that question? Um, just something that I had on my mind recently. Um, so yeah, again, I'm a very baby TikToker. Welcome to the show. I'm also streaming to YouTube and some of the more traditional places like Twitch and whatnot. But I also stream to some more far right places. So I'm on Rumble, Gab, Locals, stuff like that, Kick, X. But I also I also was on True Social until Donald Trump banned me. So I have an indefinite ban from Donald Trump from True Social, which I think is really telling. But again, we can talk about that at some other time. But again, this is my first night on TikTok with the guest access open. So if you're wanting to join in and have a chat, you're more than welcome. If you want to call the phone number that you see on your screen, you're also welcome to do that. Um, I think I have a person here, and so just bear with me. Again, this is my first time doing this. So I see 21. Okay, hello, hi. I think you're teeing up here. Okay, and so it looks like they are still getting ready, so I'm not really sure what to do. I'll just disconnect you. If you want to come back on, you're more than welcome. Um, okay. This is interesting. This is cool. So, yeah, this is just a call-in show that I do to hold space for people who want to have discussion with somebody who might think or believe or vote differently than they do. I am a huge, huge fan of Destiny and Dean Withers and all these folks out here who have these really amazing debate shows, but that's not what this is. I'm not here to beat you upside the head with what your logical fallacies are. I genuinely would love to understand why you think, vote, believe the way that you do, because maybe we fall on the opposite end of the spectrum with each other. The thing is, though, I'm willing to bet that we're not as far apart as you might think. So even with some of these really contentious topics like some abortion and DEI and all this stuff, I'm willing to bet we actually can find some consensus and common ground with each other. I am not sure how to get out of this view. Sorry. So this is again, this whole TikTok thing, I'm still kind of figuring it out. So thank you for your patience with me. Um, but I will say again, the topic that came up for me today that I was kind of interested in and thinking on was this idea that when you're confronted with the choice between do you want to save your wife or do you want to save your unborn baby, what would you do? And what's so funny is just to kind of share perhaps my perspective. When I was pregnant with my second daughter, but first biological child, um, that kind of came up for us. So my daughter was actually born at 23 weeks and 5 days. And so, as you can imagine, her coming that early, it was a very scary time. The doctors came in and basically told us that our odds, our chances of her not only being born healthy, but being born and living, and then being born and not having any sort of serious mental situation, were very slim. I think she had like a 14% chance of actually, surviving the birth because she was born at 23 weeks. And so we were confronted with that very question because there were so many things on the line where if her umbilical cord came out first, she wasn't going to make it. If literally so many things that could have happened wrong were on the table. They were saying that my options for delivery were basically to try and just see how things went. They were trying to slow down my contractions the whole time, or they could do what's called a hysterotomy. It's basically a C-section, but it's a little different. It's at the top of the abdomen. It's a lot more dangerous. So again, not only confronted with the situation of, do I want to have this really extreme abdominal surgery that's not like your everyday run of the mill C-section, which in themselves are, really severe abdominal surgeries, not to belittle C-sections at all. But this was again, a much more dangerous procedure that could have had hemorrhaging possibilities and all kind of other situations, but also would have pretty much guaranteed that I wouldn't be able to have another child. Luckily, my baby was born healthy, uh, healthy-ish, I will say. She was at 23 weeks. It's only about halfway done baking, and she had to be, of course, rushed to the NICU. They basically put her in like a plastic bag until they could get her on an ambulance to a higher level hospital. Um, from there, we were in the hospital for 111 days until she got to about when her actual due date was supposed to be, and then we were able to go home. She was still on oxygen, so it was a crazy experience, but it's just wild to think that, you know, my husband and I were actually confronted with that. But even before we got to the hospital, I I told him, I was like, if it comes down to me or the baby, you choose me, pick me. Fuck that baby. I don't know her. I don't know that baby. So like that's always been my stance. But then when I got down to the wire, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'll try it again. Thanks, 21. But yeah, when it got down to the wire, we were doing everything we could, sure, if I had to have that hysterotomy C-section, I would have gone for it. Like literally whatever we had to do, we would have done. So I see Torco and 21. Torco, I'm gonna hit you first just because you've been up here a lot longer. I'm sorry. Um, and again, I'm just still kind of figuring this out, so thanks for bearing with me. Hi, Torco. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Just like scrolling through and listening to your story. And, I'm a person that, like, I feel like
Oh,
against abortion, but at the same time, like, me as a man, how can I vote against what a woman can do with her body? Like, I struggle with that.
mm. Well, why are you again? What about abortion are you against, if I might ask?
Just because that's a lie. I mean,
Are you playing
I,
video games?
I was adopted when I was 2 years old. You know, I wasn't wanted, so why didn't they abort me?
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
Well, are you happy that they did it and that you went to a good family?
Yes.
Well, to be honest, though, I hear a lot of adoptees getting that same response, of, oh, shouldn't you be happy? But there is a lot of trauma that comes with adoption. My 5 year old, we adopted her at just 2 days old. So I've read up on all of the all the books, all the stories, tried to talk to as many adoptees as I could, and you're absolutely right, Torco. It's just not that cut and dry. So yeah, I'm happy that the option. Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
sorry.
I feel like I'm interrupting. I'm so sorry. What did you say?
No, but like in my picture, you can see that's my adopted family.
Oh.
I love them much. I'm a little taller than them. Like,
No, that's just fine. No, I'm a big fan of adoption when it's done right. Of course, obviously, but um, I get it. I absolutely get how devastating it can go for some people. I think a lot of the adoptees I've met, they've been lucky in their experience, but some of the ones that I've sought out because they were sharing their trauma, it can be crazy.
yeah,
Well, because I don't want to discount the fact that like people who aren't adopted experience significant trauma too. Like everyone goes through trauma,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that you deserve to be unalived. It doesn't mean that you didn't deserve a fighting chance at life.
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Well, again, I think for me, a lot of times people say, well, again, if it's up to choosing the mom or choosing the unborn baby, I'm always going to err on the side of the mom.
For
Just
sure.
because, again,
Yeah, that makes sense. I
that's
mean,
just,
I
yeah.
think that people who say, "Oh, choose the baby, don't choose me," that's like very selfish. That's a very selfish take, in my opinion,
God,
because
yeah.
nobody knows that baby. Nobody's developed a relationship with that baby. But if you have a husband and you have children that know
Right.
you, that need you, that rely on you, like it is so selfish to say, "Just save the baby." Absolutely not. We can
Yeah.
make another baby,
Agreed.
but
Agreed.
you can't have another you.
Exactly. Exactly. And Torco, what were you saying?
Yeah, that's a solid point. I mean, my girlfriend in her past, she's had one,
Mm-hmm.
and I have zero judgment for that. My heart aches. I'm 36 and she's 49, and
Mm-hmm.
we just have such a happy relationship. But sometimes it's like we both couldn't have kids. What if she didn't have it? Or what if she did have it? And I would love to be a stepfather.
Oh, well, have you considered adoption yourself?
Not at this point in my life. I mean, we're still renting a house, and
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So it wouldn't be appropriate because I don't feel like, you know what I mean? Because if I did, then, oh, goodness.
Well, here's the thing for me when it comes to, again, just the options that are on the table. Um, I adopted my daughter when Roe versus Wade was in full effect. So just because the option to have an abortion is on the table doesn't mean that every person who's having a baby is going to choose that.
Well,
So I think to take the option away does more damage than if it's there, because again, not every person's going to go that route.
and
um
another thing I'm conflicted with
mhm.
is like, yes, like morally, but like I'm sensitive, but like looking out. But the same people that are saying abortion is wrong will say that they believe in medical euthanasia.
Interesting.
I
Interesting.
haven't heard that one.
Yeah,
That
I've
really
heard I've heard
conflicts with me.
down the
Because
line, it's if it's a human life,
yeah,
don't kill it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that just kind of conflicts with me even more.
Well, I
Interesting.
don't know who. I can tell you one thing: most pro-life people are not saying that double standard.
No, no. The thing about that though is I think whether you're talking about end of life procedures, or you're talking about, a fetus. I think the operative term that kind of comes up is
I'm talking
still,
about in the life. Like they're
yeah,
fighting for the rights for for them.
yeah. But I still feel like the thing that it all hinges on for me is going to be sentience. So if you're sentient enough to make that decision for yourself, you should be able to end your life, in a humane and pain-free way. But also same thing for the fetus. If you can end that fetus's life, or baby's, however you want to call it, if you want to end that baby's life before it reaches sentience,
I
which
agree with
which
you.
mean then isn't that preferable? I hate the fact that what tends to happen with a lot of these abortion bans, even when there's like, oh, there's exceptions or whatever, having to debate the question of when this woman, or if this person who's pregnant person, I'm trying to be PC, sorry, when this pregnant person can get the abortion, oftentimes tends to push them past that 23, 24 week mark, when then it's like, okay, now this poor baby can actually feel. They have the capacity for feeling pain. So I think it's so insane to me that instead of just letting this person take care of it, when again, like 90% of abortions are actually performed, um, I think in the first 13 weeks. So, if you're at a point where you're past the 20-week mark and you're having to consider an abortion, it's like, please let that person do it, because there's probably something wrong. They've probably already had their 20-week scan, and they've discovered that maybe the baby's non-viable, or the woman has preeclampsia, or some kind of other gestational diabetes, or something like severe that she's going to need to, terminate the pregnancy. So again, I'm a big fan of sentience being the
I just want to
marker.
say something like more than
Hmm.
I'm sorry, less than 10% of abortions are due to less than 10% are due to medical reasons. About 90% of abortions are due to um
Like
due to
elective.
people electing to have them.
Right, but again, those are
Um,
done at like the pre 13-week mark, when again, it's that baby is not feeling pain. They don't have the neurology or neurological brain matter at all to even experience pain. So why not do it when it's again more humane to do it at that point? Like,
my
what's wrong with that?
issue is that there's way too many people having abortions when the baby is already developed enough to feel things, and the fact that it's in some states it's legal to have a late term abortion. Like it's
Ooh,
absolutely disgusting, but
can I
um,
turn you on to a woman who's doing some amazing work at really helping to understand the legal definitions behind those words? Uh, Look up Jessica Valenti, or the Abortion Everyday newsletter. She has really helped to uncover that when you think late term abortions, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking like past a reasonable time.
Like what? Just throw something out there that's like conservative.
Um, I would say anything that's I would say anything that's past um 3 months.
Well, what's crazy is, according to a lot of the, I don't know if I can say abortion as much as I'm saying it, but according to a lot of the abortion bans, legalese, and especially some of these new ones that are even more stringent and federally focused that are coming up, when they say late term abortion, they're talking past 6 weeks. Some of
That's
them,
fair.
some
I
of
mean,
them are saying
honestly,
past 13 weeks, but
I
most of
think
them are
that
saying
might be
six
the
weeks.
liberal number, if I'm being honest. But
But
the
that's
fact
not
is this.
what most
My
people
question for
say.
you is this, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Um, could you believe that women have the right to just unalive the baby, right? Like whenever they choose so, right?
Well, I didn't say that. I think that the pregnant person should be able to receive an abortion at any point during the pregnancy, But there are abortions that can be performed that are non-fatal to the baby. So you
I
could
have a
have,
quick question. I'm talking about like non-fatal abortions. I'm talking about fatal abortions where it's like, okay, like
What is
this
not
baby's gonna get unalived. Like, do you agree that a woman should be able to decide whenever she wants to fatally unalive the baby? Can I interject something real quick?
yeah, hi Pop
Wait, can
Tart.
I finish asking the host this? Oh, sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, just to speak on that point, then I am for it simply because you cannot know every single person's situation. So, more often than not, when you're again past that post 13 week, post 20-week point and having to consider having an abortion, you are more than likely doing it for those medical reasons. Because again, all the
That's not true.
90% of abortions are done before
Elective.
13 weeks.
Yeah,
So
and elective too.
those are the elective ones. So by the time
Yeah,
you
so
get to the
not the
point,
medical ones. The medical ones, those are the ones that are usually not like the reasoning behind after the 13 weeks.
but the
But
only ones that are happening after about the 13 weeks, that tracks, right? So if it's only
no,
so
people are having late term abortions. That's why it's been such an issue.
but again, when you say late term, you it could be anywhere from 13 weeks,
There,
7
there,
weeks.
there was there was the there was a left who were saying, "Oh, late term abortions are happening. What are you talking about?" And there was a lady who was 30 something weeks pregnant, and she started calling different clinics saying, "Hey, I need an abortion," and they're like, "Oh, how late are you?" And then they're like, she was like, "Oh, 30 something weeks." And she's like, "Okay, we do offer late term abortions. What's gonna happen?" And she's began to explicitly explain the traumatic process of literally injecting some kind of, I think it was like lidocaine or something like that, into the heart of the fetus. And so to to try to say that these things just aren't happening, they are happening, they are available, and they're willingly unaliving these children. But my follow up for you, host,
Yeah.
is this, and then I'm gonna land. Is you think that you believe that women should be able to have an abortion at any time for whatever reason, whatever the case may be? If there is, if their partner, or let's say the man that that they got pregnant by, says, "Oh, I want to keep the baby or whatever," um, and they still decide to unalive, or
yes.
better yet, let's say a woman wants to keep it and the man says, "No, I don't want to be a dad, like we need to abort it," but she decides to still keep it. Do you think that do you think that he should have the right to walk away and like not be involved at all and not be held accountable for child support, given that he said that he does not want it?
Not at all, because honestly, like the pregnant person and once the baby's born and this is a new person, they're two completely separate entities. So whatever happened before that child was born, he can take that up with the mom, but he can't then take it out on his child. So ultimately,
Wait.
yeah.
Because in one breath you're saying that, oh, she has the right to abort whenever she gets good and ready with no consent of the father.
Uh-huh.
But in the same breath, if she says, "Oh, I'm gonna have it," and he doesn't want to be a dad and he doesn't want the child, but she still selfishly gives birth to the child, then that's not then he should have he should have the right to walk away, because I
Well,
have to interject on this. You've been dominating this whole entire conversation. Calm down, Pop
well,
Tart.
no, it's
No,
okay.
you calm down. I'm calm down, Pop Tart.
No, let's be civil. I'm understanding both points, but Pop Tart, go ahead.
I am a 59-year-old woman who has worked in healthcare, labor and delivery, and birth doulas. And first of all, I do think men have a right to that child. It takes two to make that child. And I know too many women who very easily get mad at the man and they decide that they're going to abort it just to hurt the man, and that little daddy is left without his son. Mm-hmm. Or his daughter. I think dads do have a right. Now, if a dad decides that he doesn't want to be a father, he doesn't want the responsibility of paying child support, my opinion about that is tough luck. You made a child. You both are responsible. Mm-hmm. And that's my opinion on that. So I was listening all this time because I thought there's two. I'm assuming you both are gentlemen. Your voices sound deep to me on my end. Yeah. And I was like, gosh, are any of these guys going to speak up and say, what about the daddy's rights? In 21, you finally said that. But
Yeah.
are you pro life, Pop Tart? Yes, I am. I love it. You sound like a very a very cool country woman. True.
I don't hear country.
You know, yeah, I'm a 59-year-old woman, and I have three children, and I have my fourth grandchild on the way. And the whole reason I stopped at this whole discussion was I've listened to several of these kind of things, and the people they just get so nasty. And I don't know what the host's name is. This woman here,
Sophie.
you are keeping everything so nice and so calm, and I
Oh
can
my
tell that
gosh.
you all have very different opinions. But I'm like, okay, now this is a good conversation. Some of these other people, I
Thank
just
you.
want to.
I came into this conversation.
Pop Tart, you're so funny. Oh, I'm
Me
serious.
too. As a male, like confused from my beliefs, and then when do I step on a woman's toes? Because that's
Oh
not
wow.
my right.
Yes, it is. If you made that child, it is your right.
Well,
Well,
Pop Tart, I will say it is your right, as in you can absolutely, hope and talk to and communicate with this person that, your desires and your desired outcome from this is XYZ. But at the end of the day, until that child is born, there's really nothing you can do. Like if she does decide to
It's a
have an
9 month
abortion,
commitment. That's nothing. That's nothing for a life. It's a
well,
9 month commitment. If she doesn't want the baby and the daddy does, it's a 9 month. It's a 9 month consequence.
it's actually more of like a 20, 25 forever
Not,
consequence, because
not if
once you
she doesn't
have,
want. Not if she doesn't want the baby. If she doesn't want the baby, unfortunately, we didn't get to decide how God designed this. He designed the woman to carry the baby.
so you think that God doesn't like abortion or doesn't condone abortion?
I don't think. Um, it, it's hard because I do know people that have had abortions.
Well, here's the thing. I'm assuming then you're Christian, of course, if you're citing God. But do you know that there's nowhere in the Bible that says abortion is bad? In fact, the literal only place in the Bible that even mentions abortion is a how to. In Numbers 5:11, it gives you the recipe for making your wife have an abortion if you suspected she cheated on you. That's the literal only mention of abortion in the Bible.
I don't think anywhere in the Bible, in my opinion, it also says in the Bible, whatever you've done unto the least of these, you have done unto me.
Well, again, we
And
don't consider in the
there's
Bible you consider a being alive once it takes breath, correct? The breath of life, the breath of God.
no.
So
Have you ever seen an ultrasound? Those babies are sucking their thumbs and moving
sure, but
around.
I'm just saying in the context of religion, in the context of
It
the
is
Bible,
breathing. It is breathing. It's breathing. It's breathing through the mother's placenta. The placenta provides all of the oxygen for the baby.
into the bloodstream, sure, but there's no actual lung action happening until the surfactant goes into the lungs, which you know as a medical professional, sure. And I agree with you. I'm in full agreement with you. I think that there is life. It is alive. And I feel like I'm talking over you though. Did you say something? I didn't mean to
No,
cut you
I'm
off.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
had you on speaker so I can see your little face.
oh, you're a kind soul. Thank you. No, but what did you say? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
I've seen aborted babies, and it's ugly.
Yeah.
Many of them are not dead at birth. They're left to die. They're still moving.
Well,
Huh?
how did you? Because I've done a lot of research on this.
I've seen videos. I've been members of groups, and yeah, yeah. and um, and I lived next door, believe it or not, to a priest. I'm not Catholic, but I used to live next door to a priest
Uh-huh.
who was very heavily into the pro life movement, and he had a lot of footage and things that they use for educational purposes, and you know,
See, I'm background Catholic, born and
Mm.
raised, adopted into the family of it, yeah, confirmed Catholic,
right.
and I am definitely pro life. Um, but I'm not a religious person anymore. I'm spiritual.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
Well,
because and I mean I live in a small town of 9,000 people,
mhm.
but my grandma carried on a legacy. I hung a right to life billboard, but also my eyes have been open. You know what I mean? Like how me as a man can vote against a woman who does with her body. What if there was a law that I got snipped after I had 3 kids?
I li-
There's
I
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
difference. That's not a fair analogy. When a woman,
You're
when a woman
right.
has an abortion,
Kind of not, but I'm talking about control over one's body.
well, I'm going to tell you this because an abortion, when a woman has an abortion, absolutely nothing is happening to that woman's body that doesn't happen during a normal gynecological exam. Nothing. Her skull
Oh,
is not being cracked open and brain sucked out. The baby is not, or the woman is not being drowned with saline solution. The baby or the woman is, her limbs are not being sucked out. I have people I know that have had abortions, and I still love them dearly.
521. Thanks for
And
joining.
I want to say again, I am pro life, but I have questions. And I came to this spot because it just seems so respectful
Well,
where I can voice that.
Yeah,
I
no, I
understand, but you
Pop
have to
Tart.
remember, nothing is happening to that woman's body. Nothing's happening to her body, and that's the part that I get stuck on.
But
Nothing's
the
happening.
thing about it though is I find that to be wonderful. I think that the fact that abortions are so safe now that you can there's this whole thinking that oh, women if they have an abortion every week, you know, then they're going to damage. No, they're so safe that you could literally have an abortion every week of your life and still have the capacity to get pregnant. It does not hinder your reproductive capacity. So the fact that they're so safe, but when you take the option away, when you
They're
take
safe.
so sorry, I'm talking over you.
Oh, that's okay. They're safe for the mother.
They are safe for the mother. Of course they're not safe for the fetus, but I mean again that's
Can I
the
ask a
point.
question now on
Yeah,
safety
Torco.
for the mother?
Say that one more time.
Can I ask a question on safety for the mother? Sorry, I have hearing aids.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll have you on speaker.
It's fine.
Um, what about like the mother's mental health? Does that play a toll?
No, honestly, what's so wild is I've seen studies that show that while something along the lines of 65% of women do regret their decision,
Gotcha.
90% of like they regret having to have made the decision, but 90 something like 90% when asked 1 year later and 5 years later, they would essentially do it again. They felt that they made the correct decision. So yes, it's a challenging thing, and I think that's again, I think that's a good thing. I think the fact that this isn't an easy decision, it's not something that people take lightly. It's not like me and Pop Tart this weekend, girl. Let's go get an abortion, girl. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have nobody's doing that,
Tattoo. We all have.
right? But nobody. We have regret. What was it? Regrets. Yeah, no regrets. But so yeah, so isn't it wonderful that we can trust women and pregnant people to make these decisions for themselves because it's not something that they take lightly. It's not something that's easy to do or to go through. When I had to have my abortion, it was, I mean, oh my God, like I have something in my brain. I think my neurons are flipped or something. I don't know. But I don't react to medicine like I should. So they gave me numbing cream for my cervix, and they had me on gas. I'm in the UK. So they had me on like gas and stuff. It didn't make a dent. So I felt every single thing. I felt everything. And it was the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. And would I do it again?
Do you think
Absolutely.
you were carrying
Say that one more time.
I think a lot of
What
women
did you?
definitely.
I'm sorry, Torco. What did you say, real quick? I'm sorry, Pop
do
Tart.
you, is there any question like do you think maybe that fetus that you were carrying maybe felt any of that?
Oh no, because that my baby had died. I
Oh,
did
I'm
IVF, and I
sorry
had
to hear that.
yeah, I had a miscarriage. It was at 7 weeks, so it was very early. But then I had to have a dilation and curettage, a DNC, which is an abortion.
That's
And so yeah, so I felt it. And they basically vacuum out your uterus, and they do it twice to be
sorry the
sure.
pain you went through, and this is kind of me sending you an air hug, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Torco.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, thank you so much. But again, that's one of the reasons I think abortion is so amazing, because literally 30 days later, I was able to have my second IVF attempt, and now I have my 1-year-old daughter. So
Well, at
I'm
this point, I think another thing that you have to think about, and I think the host, what is your first name?
I'm
Sophie.
Sophie. Yeah.
Sophie. Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
I think a lot of women get themselves in positions or they're in situations where they can't, where they don't have the support that they need. And I'm of the mindset, instead of so much government help, with paying for abortions, I would like to see, more support and more aid to these young moms who have no choice but to abort. But if they have the
I
support,
feel that same way,
they
Papa.
had the financial support, and that they had something to help them. Well,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
some of these mothers do this because it is their only choice, and that's what makes me so
Yeah.
sad.
Oh, Pop Tart.
Because
I
one of those babies that was
yeah.
born, man, that could have been the one that cures cancer, or
Oh my gosh.
saves.
Can
You
I
know what
can
I'm
I tell you something though? Like whenever I hear that argument, the first thing I tend to think about is what if that baby was the next mass shooter? What if that baby was the next Hitler? so,
saying?
so you can't necessarily say that.
I never think
Well,
that.
but I know you don't. I know you don't, because that helps you feel vindicated in, again, trying to make decisions for other people. And so what
You don't
happens
want to
is,
make a decision. You open up the forum with saying, would you save the mother or the child? And
mm,
I think if the baby is not viable, if it's under 20 weeks, the baby's not going to survive if the mother doesn't survive. And
right.
so you have to save the mother. And I agreed with your guest. Even if it was late term, if it was going to cost the woman her life, you save the mama.
Well,
I
Mom,
agree. I
You
agree.
you
ma'am, you are really a nurse, aren't you?
I'm
Oh,
not. I'm not a nurse. I've worked as a doula for many, many years and worked with
I know
midwives.
that. That was strong heart.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing. What's so funny though is I love what you said just a second ago about other programs, other things, other supports,
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what, as a pro-choice person, I never understood, is that you can support abortion bans, but you don't support free, school lunch programs. You don't support Head Start. You don't support Title I programs. You don't support
Oh,
anything
yeah.
else.
See, I do. See, I do. I do. I think if
Oh,
you're going
not
to
you, more the general
okay,
you.
okay. No,
I'm
I would
sorry.
rather see. I would
You
rather
seem
see
cool as
myself.
hell, Pop Tart. I definitely wouldn't have assumed that about you. But that
Oh,
does
okay.
seem to be the argument that most people, who are pro life,
Yeah.
seem to espouse, is like, no, I'm going to try to dictate what happens in people's doctor's offices, but I don't give a shit about these kids once they're here.
Oh, no,
And
no,
so,
no, no. I'd rather see my tax dollars go to helping these mamas and these little babies, taken care of and just flourish in their lives instead of giving all this money for abortions. I would rather,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Or
I
these mamas
do.
who don't want to have an abortion, but I mean, there's
Hi,
people
Russell.
that want to adopt babies so badly. The bottom line is, I agree. I feel the way that I do,
Mm-hmm.
but I also don't judge other people. If that makes any sense. I've had three miscarriages. I have three grown
Oh,
children.
I'm sorry. Oh.
I've been pregnant five times. I lost two singles, and my last one was a twin, and I lost his twin.
Oh
So
goodness.
I do understand going through the DNCs. I do understand, but my babies had passed. But there's something very real when you have to retrieve a very tiny, pencil eraser size webbed little hand out of the toilet,
Mm-hmm.
because you got to start taking the body parts into the doctor to see if you pass it all, and if you don't, that's
Yeah.
when you have to have the DNC.
Yeah.
I've been through that. I'm almost 60 years old. I had my kids in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not judging anybody else, but I'd much rather see programs and financial support and help with these young moms and dads who have these babies. You can't just
Right.
say you have to have the baby and good luck. No,
Right.
you
I
don't
mean,
do that. You
I
don't do
I I too I agree 1,000%. But I guess my thinking then is until that day comes when we have governmental systems in place that actually care about, again, the actual child and not just the unborn child. Until then, I don't see that it's reasonable to again take that option away.
So
Just
that brings up something.
sure, Torco.
Question that I want to ask.
I love this guy is disinterested in this, don't you?
No, I do. Honestly, that seems to be the case. There's so many people who are men, who or people who cannot have babies, older people who weigh in on this topic. So so
I'm
it
6 years
tracks.
old and just looking for information.
No,
I
what's
mean,
up? What was your question, sweetheart? I'm sorry.
oh my gosh, you just made me forget.
You're only 36.
Yeah, quit.
Oh my!
Just ask the damn question.
I'm sorry.
Like this. Forgetting things, Torco.
Oh, I know.
Before, jog my memory.
No, just talking about in fact I kind of wish 21 were back on because he was lifting up just I guess that responsibility factor, like who's responsible and if who wants to be responsible, and I thought that triggered something interesting. But was that
Yes, I remember now.
go ahead.
Is like CPS corrupt, or is that just something
Mm,
I see on TikTok? I mean, I went through the foster care system, but
mm-hmm.
I feel lucky compared to seeing what I see, and I'm just unsure. I was adopted early, so that makes me
Yeah.
feel good, but is CPS corrupt?
I'm going to say that in any system, especially governmental system, you will have bad eggs. Um, when
And
it,
bad foster parents.
with the pool of parents that are uh, in the CPS and DSS system in order to just make a buck, they
Yep.
don't care about the kids. There are bad eggs there too. But I will say that I we adopted our now 5-year old through DSS through CPS, and so we were able to get a very very vivid glimpse into that world, into what it takes to be a foster parent, and into what it takes to do respite care for families and stuff. And I will say there's a lot of scrutiny, a lot of uh, real thorough vetting of the adults that enter these children's lives, including the parents. So most of the kids that enter CPS and DSS and foster care and stuff, they're actually on track to be placed back with their original family. That's always the goal. Even with people who want to do adoption, we went in wanting to adopt, but we understood that if we had a child that whose parents stepped up and did their plan and worked it and stayed out of trouble and stayed off narcotics or whatever the case was, if they wanted their child back, that would come first. So I think it's beautiful that they do everything they can to reconnect families, and to make sure that kids are safe while doing that. So I don't know about everywhere else, but in North Carolina, they were just stellar. They were amazing. But you would see situations where there would be families of sibling groups of like 5 and 7, and
Mhm.
some had sibling groups where like the little boys couldn't stay with the little girls because they were sexually harassing little girls and stuff. So some of these kids have so much deep trauma that goes on with, why they are the way they are. A lot of them had special needs, and you have to go through a whole other track of foster care education just to do those, get those children. I commend, again, I don't know about everywhere else, but North Carolina, I commend them so much for just how much they put the kid first, they put family first. Um, I think the education and the continuing education and the follow up, like again, my daughter's 5 years old. We got her at 2 days old. And I, to this day, have a connection with our adoption specialist. Um,
Mhm.
and we have we don't have an open adoption, but she's like our contact to her mother. So right, so we can still let her mom see pictures of her and have updates of her and stuff like that. So like so yeah, I mean so I'm going to say blanket statement, nobody's perfect. I'm sure all situations are different, but from my experience, um I think the people who work in CPS and DSS are absolutely doing it with the best intentions, and I think with the best, like making the best of what are ultimately really shitty situations, unfortunately. Yeah.
Right. To jump, Torco, I hate to interrupt you. I have to jump. I've got a friend coming
No,
over,
run,
but
but
I wanted to tell you I love this conversation, and it's just been a joy talking to both of you.
all same.
I have followed you, so I
Thank
will be
you.
back if you're on more.
Yeah, yeah, I'm on every night. So, yeah, whenever you see me, you're welcome to pop in. I really appreciate
Well,
you joining.
I just fell on your page
Well,
just
this
in
is this
time.
is my first night being able to have guests on. Before it
Yeah,
was just through the
yeah.
call.
Well,
So yeah.
Sophie, it was a joy talking with you, Torco.
Oh, thank you.
I love your what's the word I'm looking for? Interest in women and their health care. I love that. I love
I
that.
do
Very
too.
curious.
Thank you, Pop
So,
Star.
You but you guys can see me.
I'll wave back at you. It's okay.
You both have a blessed night. Thank you.
Oh, thanks,
you as
Pop
well.
Star. Oh, what a sweetheart. But Torko, I think you were about to say something else, or
No, I just really appreciate you having me,
oh.
especially if I have my different views and opinions. I just really respect the request.
No, thank you. And honestly, like I don't think we're
I said request, I meant respect.
no, you respect the respect.
I respect the request.
Well, no, I understood what you mean. And again, I don't think that we're that far apart. It sounds like we all care about women, we all care about babies. We
Most
all
definitely.
no nobody wants people to have abortions. Nobody wants
No,
that. So I think we're on the same page more than perhaps it might have seemed at the start.
I just can't let my personal views like overstep the boundaries of the woman I love.
But I
And
think
that's
that's what pro-choice is all about, my friend.
you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's a beautiful thing. I would love to maybe even have a show where we focus on adoption and just what that option entails. So I'd love it if you followed me as well, if you ever want to come back on when we're talking about some of those things that are really in your wheelhouse, I would say.
just did.
Oh, you're sweet. Did you have any other questions or thoughts, or is there anything else up here that you feel like you disagree with? I don't know if you can see it. It's so tiny.
No, I want to say again, I appreciate your time and your hospitality because a lot of other things when you go on to talk, they just slam like
Oh,
each side just slams you. Like I can't even, you know what I mean? It's like I'm not
yeah.
on the side.
Yeah, we're not on
I
sides.
just want to know.
I feel like I'm tricking people because I'm like I'm a leftist, but I genuinely don't see like people on the right, people who are pro life. You're not
That's
my enemy. We're
why.
not
Why is
adversaries.
everybody so scared of each other?
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's
it's not.
why we have the president we do now. Is because it we made people think that they had more in common with this billionaire, crazy, celebrity reality TV show host than they did with their neighbor. And so, this is Sophie's neighborhood. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What do
you're
you
what
think about?
you're
What do you think about the border?
oh, the border? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I just think that you should replace um immigration with racism. Like if you're so concerned about immigration,
No.
I do feel like there's such a tinge of racism there that people aren't really seeing cuz
Acknowledging.
yeah, and not to say like every person who voted for Trump or every person who's, concerned about our borders are racist, but I think for people to believe this dog whistle that there are murderers and rapists and they're emptying their, insane asylums over in their prisons over here. That kind of thing is where it's like, okay, you're literally just falling victim to the same kind of bullshittery that happened in post abolition reconstruction era America when they were saying the same thing about black people so that, the working class wouldn't vote together then. So it's the same shit that happened in the like mid
All,
1800s and
all you
1900s
gotta
to
know,
now.
I've never been raped by a Mexican. No. So,
Wait a minute, have you been like this? Have you been raped by anyone?
no. That's the
Oh my
thing.
gosh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because it can happen to
I'm
men.
six.
I
I'm
know.
6'2" and 220 pounds.
No,
Like,
my best friend is
I,
6'2", and he was raped by a woman. So I know it can happen. I didn't mean to be insensitive if that had happened to
well,
you is all.
no, I don't mean to be, but it's something that not that circumstance.
But no, I get
But
what you're
yeah,
saying. Like no
so
Mexican has actually,
okay.
yeah.
So here's my idea.
Uh, hey chef.
I I believe in secure borders,
Mhm.
but just make it that. I'm a humanitarian too. I believe in humanity.
Mhm.
You know. Okay. So we no, see, hear me out.
Okay. I'm listening. I'm listening.
We got this Department of Government Efficiency
Oh my god. Okay. Mhm.
studying spending. Okay.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
So wouldn't it be more efficient? Yes, if there are criminals like that have committed crimes that would be crimes on U.S. soil versus like when I was a kid hopping a fence into the neighbor's yard and jumping their pool at night.
Mhm.
Just like chill a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
anybody else, like the government needs to make a process of okay, you're here illegally. Come sign up here, and as long as you're not a I don't know how to say this without like a child essayer or any essayer, or
Well,
any
believe it or not,
criminal
that is
act,
what happened.
give them work passports or work visas. I mean,
Well, believe it or not, that's what the current process is. Um, and sorry, I
okay,
just got my little nugget here. But
well,
I guess she wasn't sleeping. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning where I am, so it's a
oh
little
my
later.
god, it's 7:05 here.
Yeah, but no, with what you're saying though, like the most people who cross the border illegally, they are here either seeking asylum or seeking a court date. to see if they can come through. So even if they're caught crossing illegally, they tend to get caught and be processed. And what happens is they're given a court date, and then they're kind of like allowed to come in the country as long as they maintain communications with like their immigration specialist. So that's kind of what so that kind of is what happens. They're not allowed to work here. A lot of them still do because a lot of companies and farms and construction places still pay them. Um, so
I,
yeah, but
I used to travel all over the United States
uh-huh.
in my younger 20s, or in my 20s, I mean, doing pipeline work.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the workers were illegal. I could not communicate with them, except if I wanted to go to one or two guys.
Uh-huh.
But our communication was always smiles, like messing with each other. Like we're digging in the same hole, but I'd throw my dirt his way, so he had to dig more.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
amazing. They were so happy to be here.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
nothing malicious.
Yeah. What's
You
what
know,
what's crazy to me though is if I don't know, like if you look at how the working and unskilled labor jobs have evolved with who they go to. Yes, after slavery ended, a lot of black people were still given like the sharecropper jobs and the iron working jobs and the cleaning jobs and all that stuff, right?
where's the 7 acres?
Right, where's the 40 acres and the
Yeah,
yeah, we never got that, but white people got reparations. The masters got reparations. Y'all got the Homestead Act. But still, I digress.
no, I agree
Move,
with you.
moving
I'm
forward though,
100%
then who got those jobs? Then you had all these immigrants coming in from Poland, Ireland, you know, those people then got Italy. Those people then got the shitty jobs of having to be the butchers and have you read the book oh, what is the book? Is it the machine, the factory, something like I can't think of it, but it's all about that, like how these Polish immigrants came in and had to work in like a meat packing plant. So like all the jobs people don't want to do fell to those immigrants, Eastern European and and Italian immigrants and stuff like that. Then we're now in an era where these jobs go to the Hispanic population for the most part. Oh, before that it was the Asians. Before that it was the Chinese and the Japanese. So now it's the Hispanic people who are unfortunately coming in and being taken advantage of by people who are only willing to pay them these low wages to do these unskilled jobs. Some are skilled though, which is crazy.
2009, I was an operator with
Uh-huh.
Traco digging through the orange groves in Lake Mills, Florida.
Alongside who? Who is right next to you? I'm gonna guess.
Hear me out.
Uh-huh.
We were going through the orange groves,
Uh-huh.
and the tangerines were ripe at the time, being harvested.
Okay.
All of them from different cultures.
Mm.
And they worked their asses off, and they just threw these little Y ladders up in the trees, and they wore baskets around their waist, like pouches, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
big ass pouches. And they would just stick my hand and throw it in there.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
I like befriended some, you know what I mean? 'Cause,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, couldn't really communicate. But one guy, like he knew broken English, so that was cool. But we all got along so well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Like the humanity part needs to be in consideration.
Agreed. I agree. And honestly though, I guess to take what I was saying just to the conclusion though, I think is so terrible about mass deportation and this desire to kick out the people who are again doing these kind of jobs now, is that you're preventing the people who are doing these jobs from moving to that next stage, from using their community and the money that they are amassing and changes that hopefully can be made to immigration to make it easier to become citizens. Like hopefully then they'll move up in the world and they'll become middle class, and you'll have more of that population that are able to make more and able to contribute more, and so it's just sad that they're not going to get that opportunity, or that that's being taken away from them. And it's sad because they think that taking, like, you can literally hear Trump say, oh, it's basically, we're going to give these jobs, black jobs, back to black people. So he thinks that by kicking out all the Mexicans and all the Hispanic people, that black people are going to be doing these jobs. But we were the first to move out of the need to do those things. We were the first to advance into being more middle class, if you will. So it's kind of crazy to me that they're that racist. They're that racist that they would assume that black people want to or would be willing to do these jobs.
People taking over the jobs.
Say that one more time, sorry.
Do you think that he meant it was just black people who
Yes.
take over the jobs?
Because he said it. He said black jobs. He said it on more than one occasion that having.
No, I did hear him say, he said they're taking black jobs.
Right, they're taking black jobs, and again, that's what he seems to think he's doing to help the African American population. So I don't know if you saw that interview that he had with the black journalists group, the one where he was saying he didn't know that Kamala was black until until whatever.
Pre-election, right?
Right, during the debates, and well, just during the campaign, trail or whatever. But during that interview, if you heard the whole thing, he talked about how,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So you saw where he was saying to black people specifically, I'm doing you such a big favor by opening up these black jobs for you by kicking out all the Hispanic people. So yeah, he genuinely thinks that this is how his plan is going to work. That we're going to black people are going to regress back to post slavery antebellum, yes, massa sharecropping work, just because he can't conceive that we're not that far past that. Sorry, go ahead.
As a person that voted for him this term, not any others, if that were to happen, there's a majority of us that would take up arms. And it's not.
Well, why do you say that? Like, what do you think people would take up arms about? What in particular?
Ooh, gosh darn. Well, the government spending. Okay, hold on. Do you want me to get real deep?
Hey, I got the time if you do. Go ahead.
Okay, Luigi.
Uh-huh.
Motherfucker made. I've never felt that close to individuals, whether red or blue, since 9/11.
Right?
What an amazing, powerful feeling.
It was. It really was. I feel like it was fleeting, unfortunately, but
yes, I agree. But if Donald Trump did something tyrannical, I would take up arms just as fast.
ooh. But how is what he's doing now not tyrannical?
Just a little bit of trust. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
we receipts. I'm not an idiot. I need receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gosh darn, I feel like I'm talking to my girlfriend. 'Cause she paid for Harris Williams in the polls, knowing damn well what we were doing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we got back out in the parking lot and we hugged and kissed each other and you know what I mean?
I
We
mean,
coexist. It's just an awesome thing. I hate how divided people are.
well,
Because
why do you think that is? Like, I'm honestly surprised to hear that's still your girlfriend because so many, especially women, were like done with their partners who voted for Trump and they didn't.
what do you mean? I don't even like cats. But during our conversation,
Uh huh.
one of my girlfriend's cats, who is having dinner with her cousin right now,
Uh huh.
one of her cats puked on the carpet and I had to pick it up with a paper towel.
Oh my
What do you
gosh.
mean? That was
So
that was devastating.
you're willing to get over your aversion to cats for her, but it sounds like she's having to get over.
Cats now.
Oh wow, but it sounds like again, this is just me. I don't know you. I'm just a third party person talking. But like I'm it just sounds to me then that she's having to get over your support of a racist Nazi authoritarian oligarch, who doesn't like
But she
women.
but she doesn't think that. I'm sad that you think that way too as well.
Well, I'm saying more
Because
so that he is that way and you supported him. I'm not saying that you were that way. I think
no,
that's a big
I
difference.
can't I can't defend like the oligarch. It's too early to tell. But as far as the racists, like calling all his supporters like racists and
Well,
Nazis, that's just
you heard what I
that's
said, right? Like I feel that he is
that's
those things. I am not attributing those things to you. But you do support those things by supporting someone who is those things. Do you understand what I'm saying?
so yeah. So it's one of those things that goes back like to where I feel like I just close my eyes and like vote on policy.
Which policy?
Which policy?
Yeah, or what policies?
His idea of like we need to close the border. And right now I agree with that.
What why do
But
you agree with that?
also
Why? Like has something happened to you personally where you've lost a job or opportunity or like you said you haven't been raped by a Mexican, but did something happen to where you were harmed by someone who came across the border?
sure, right.
So, but like so did you then believe that rhetoric that there's this wide open border and the people coming across are murderers and rapists? Is that what you believe or like oh you're very muffled. I can't understand you. I'm sorry.
I think I had my pinky holding up my phone against the speaker.
That's okay. I can hear you now.
No, I believe if that many are crossing, there's gonna be your statistic of. I mean, look at what's in America.
Well, I mean, we have those statistics though. Like migrant crime is a fraction of the crime that actually occurs from Americans, you know?
Yeah,
So
but
it's yeah.
still, a secure border to me means like, all right, you're coming. Let me the same way that they did in Afghanistan, Iraq, and see if you're a criminal in another country that's wanted for child SA or murder or something. Those, no, get away. The ones seeking asylum, like, you need a hug?
Well, they again, that's what they do. That's the whole point of them getting the court date, of them being vetted, of them having to go through a process, you know? So again, the fact that that's what's already happening, I think it's sad that I think the misinformation around, again, this wide open border, which there isn't. You have to have, there are border crossings, there are border patrols. You know, and again, like give me an example of a crime that you've seen a migrant do that's been like a big deal. Um like what's something that happened that an immigrant did to make people so scared?
Well, since you asked, and I'm not scared myself, but last year there was a bunch of Haitian migrants in my small town in Midwest Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
and they were running fiber optic cable for new internet, and one of them went on a rampage and broke it, smashed the windows out of a pharmacy, then ran down the road and into the local like mall, smashed the window. But that's just literally the only thing.
And that's
The
just from
only
what you've seen in your personal experience.
no, you're question about what has one done. I have 70 other experiences with the other ones that are just pleasant.
Oh, that's really lovely. I guess I'm just wondering then what it is about the open border, or what it is about immigrants that rubbed you so wrong that you would vote for the person who actually killed the bill that was going to do things to fix that, you know? Um, did you just not know?
I believe borders, there should be border reform. Give them a better chance. Like, I feel like the application process now is too hard. It takes too long. Like, give them a little,
Agreed. But
you know,
again, there was a bill that was going to fix that. And that's what Donald Trump made them kill. It was a bipartisan bill that would have helped to fix the asylum process, put caps on.
it needs
Um,
reform.
say that one more time.
It needs reform.
Right. That was what the bill was intended to do, and that's the bill that Donald Trump literally killed. His republic. It was a bipartisan bill brought by Republicans. Um, that Republicans came out of the House saying Donald Trump. I don't know why he told us to kill this bill, but we got to kill it. You know, like so you have them on record saying that he specifically is why they did not enact the reforms that you're saying you wanted. You know, so again, I guess did you just not know that, or was that hidden from you?
Information on what bill that is.
I guess because I'm left wing, I suppose, so I watch MSNBC and all, you know, so that's and of course I voted for Kamala Harris, so I saw a lot of her rallies. Um,
I respect you for that.
well, I'm just saying that I saw that they said that a lot, that you know there was this bill that was meant to fix all these things, have more border patrol agents, like 1,000 more border patrol agents, fix the asylum process, put caps on who can come in. You know, it was meant to do all these things, and Donald Trump killed it. And that's how I heard about it. So is it just
Because they had kind of 4 years to make an executive order to do just that.
what executive order? There was
Joe
no.
Biden could have signed an executive order to change just that, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's better to go through Congress, since that's who's supposed to make laws, and have a permanent change that actually fixes the immigration process, like you said. So all I'm
Right.
saying is like if
But But an executive order can be canceled by the Supreme Court by judges.
Right, and that's kind of what we're seeing happen with all the executive orders that Trump is doing now. Like they're being contested, they're in court.
Very correct. Yes.
So all I'm saying is there was a solution. Donald Trump killed it. Did you just not know that he
But
did that? Or
what else was in that bill? There was a lot of foreign aid.
nope. You have to. I'm telling you, it was a bipartisan bill. Republicans were fine with it. They brought it. They made it. They were happy with it. They said the only reason we are not pushing this through is because Donald Trump told us not to. There, I'm telling you, it's like three different congressmen that you can see saying
Could you,
this.
tell me the bill so I could research that?
Oh well, I'm not here to debate. I'm literally just saying. Did you not? The fact that you're asking me to, well, the fact that you're asking me about it means that you didn't know this. Like I feel like this was common news because of the stuff I watch. But say that one more time.
I'm definitely admitting to that.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like that then makes more sense to me why you would vote for him because you weren't aware that he specifically killed the thing that you wanted, you know? So it makes more sense to me, but I guess knowing that now that the person that you voted for actually doesn't really want the reform that you do, you know, I don't know, like how does that make you feel now?
I still feel strongly about
Oh, you're very muffled. Yeah, again, yeah.
I think it was a pinky thing again. Can you hear me?
You got to get fancy. You got to get fancy and lift it up.
Darn.
It's okay. But yeah, like knowing that, like you said you're still holding out hope.
Right now, yeah. And listen, I'll be the first to admit if I voted wrong, but at this moment, I'm gonna still stand true to that.
I mean, honestly, like as human beings, um, I am a cognitive neuroscience person. I have a certification in that, and so I've studied the brain and stuff a lot, and there are studies that show that the pain centers of our brain light up when we have to admit that we're wrong. so, so I know how hard it is to say, "Oh, I made a bad choice or I made a bad decision." I'm not here trying to make you admit that or say that, but yeah, I would encourage you to look up some of the shenanigans that he did and really, if not go, of course you can't take your vote back, but at least try to bring forth that same empathy and camaraderie that you felt with the immigrants that you worked with, and try to have that same sentiment toward seeing, them being separated from their families or put in cages, or how they're going into schools and going into the very immigration offices that they're keeping up with every week to pull them away from their families.
False propaganda. They have not been going to schools.
They not only have they been going into schools and on school buses, they have again the big.
That's the same as Fox News.
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you what I know they did. Remember how I was telling you that when they come across the border and get that court date, they have to keep in touch with their immigration person, like their immigration specialist. They had ICE stings at least 3 of those immigration offices. So where these people are waiting for a court date, have come into the country, have their court date, have been assigned someone that they have to check in with, they are getting the people who are actually following the rules. And they're getting them at those immigration locations where they go in for their check-ins. So, how is that getting the criminals out of here? How is that getting the rapists out of here?
I agree with you. It's actually the people affiliated with the person they're going after. Tom Homan said it. Said we're going after the criminals.
Well, he also said grandma and the kids can go too. So if that's by what you mean by affiliation. But again, how is that the criminals? How is that the murderers? How is that the?
It's not.
So that's all I'm saying is like let's just extend the empathy and love that we have for the people that we might have worked beside at one point to all these folks who are, again, just trying to live their life.
That's what I'm here doing. That's why I joined your chat.
You are. You are, and I love you for it. I really do. I really do.
We're not that different.
No, not at all. I see your heart, sir.
We have different views, but we are human.
For sure. Yeah. And I guess, again, I think I can extend that to the immigrants, and I think that you can too. And that's really all I'm proposing. And it sounds like you're already there. So yeah, I agree. 1,000%.
Not last Christmas, because it's already 2025, now it's 2024, but the Christmas before that.
Uh-huh.
They were working all through town doing fiber optic cable.
Mm-hmm.
And I work in a bunch of greenhouses and grow flowers and plants.
Nice.
But there's also a florist side, so I'll take deliveries. And during Christmas, I would roll down the window and just yell. The only thing I knew how to speak was Feliz Navidad.
Aww.
Like, everyone, like, I could say that. And just, we were all friends.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Like, I know I don't know if you keep in touch with any of those folks. I know you said it was difficult to communicate, but but if you were to see those people that felt were so nice and you really liked working beside, they were kind folks. If you were to see them today and they learned how you voted, how do you think that would make them feel?
Good question. I don't know. Never thought about that, but I would obviously have to stay true to my word. I can't lie.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, you're welcome. Like, there's a bigger picture. Like you hear, like, all I'm saying is I disagree with deport everybody. Like, if you're gonna catch the criminal and there's a family on the couch beside him, just tell them how to give a permit. I've been in trouble with the legal system before, and you go on probation. Just check in every 90 days or something.
But again, they have to check in weekly. Some of them. Some it's every few weeks.
Weekly's too much.
But that's the way that it currently is. Those people waiting for court dates don't just wait for their court date.
I'm sorry, I cussed.
No, what did you say? You can curse. I'm a 42-year-old woman, sweetheart. You're not offending my sensibilities. What did you say? I just didn't hear you.
I was just apologizing to you.
No, she don't care. I don't care. It's fine.
She just flipped me off.
Gosh. But hi. You're just spitting. Huh? But no, I feel you. I really do. I was just saying that process of checking in, that is what immigrants who are here waiting for their court they are doing every week or every few weeks. So it's so again, if you feel so strongly about it that this influenced who you cast your one presidential vote every 4 years for, I would just encourage you to, keep doing your homework, keep staying in the space, get to know the people that it's affecting, understand how your vote is actually impacting people, and however you move forward from today, uh it can only be better than how you were yesterday, right? So I mean, same for me. Like I've learned a lot talking to you. It's nice to know you've had these experiences.
Curious, so.
Yeah, yeah. No, so I think it's great. But I tell you what, I think I might hang it up because I think it's just you and me at this point. And
I know you're not getting views because we aren't controversial.
I don't mind that. Like I'm very happy to just be nice. True. Well, I tell you what though, if you follow me and whenever you see I'm going live, if you share it with people who maybe you think again maybe they disagree with some of the things that I am saying or whatever, then we can build this community however you like. This is your space.
I hope you win the lottery. It's been a blessing talking to you.
You're so sweet.
You're a nice person.
Aw.
Good evening.
No, thank you, Torco. I'm good. I think I tried to follow you, but you're private. But I'll try again because I hope we stay in touch.
I don't really post anything.
Well, either way, I very much enjoyed meeting you. So however you feel, you want to allow me in your space is fine with me.
Alright, well, how I want to allow you is like you have beautiful hair, and if I ever met you, I would like to untuck it.
Okay, well that's like a can of worms for a whole nother conversation.
Shake your hand and touch your hair at the same time.
Okay, so yeah, that's the can of worms for a whole nother conversation. But oh my god, no, very nice meeting you. But yeah, I'm gonna hang it up for the evening. But I'm on nightly, so hopefully I'll see you at some point in the future. But very lovely to meet you, sir.
Yeah, you too as well.
All right, good night, Torgo. Oh my gosh.